Welcome to the Be the Sun, Not the Salt podcast. I'm Dr. Harry Cohen, author of Be the Sun, Not the Salt. I'm joined by my co-host, Connie Fontaine, and we're going to get into the chapters to talk about how to be the sun and not the salt.
These mini episodes are really designed for a couple of things, but mainly for us to revisit each chapter day by day and make sure that we're soaking in these concepts and living our best life every day. I think chapter 6 is an interesting one, light someone up, because there are people who say, light someone up, that's bad. No, not that way. We're talking about light somebody up in a really good way, the kind of people that when you walk into a room and you're the kind of person that people lean towards and feel good about. So I think the most important part of starting with this one, Harry, is heliotropic people, the whole science behind heliotropism and what heliotropic people's characteristics are.
And these characteristics have been researched, identified, articulated, and discussed at length by Dr. Kim Cameron from the University of Michigan Business School. What we did is we distilled the essence of these qualities and said, all of them represent what it means to be the sun, which means to be a positive energizer. Being around and with these people, including us, make the person feel good, feel better, feel, wow, I love being around him or her. And it's not an accident. It's not mysterious. It's not woo-woo energy. It is when someone, any of us, are kind and uplifting, compassionate, grateful, curious. We want the best for the person we're talking to. You can feel it when you're talking to someone and they genuinely are listening to you and want the best for you. That is what it means to be heliotropic. To light someone up is to be deliberate in knowing that we all have that power to make somebody feel uplifted, however we do.
And I mean, some of those characteristics you mentioned, I mean, it's kind of like a duh, but when we put a name to it and the science behind it that says, no, this is real. I mean, and we feel it. I mean, I think when I first heard you talk on this topic and you used the metaphor, and I remember you sat down next to me and I'm like, God, this should be on t-shirts all over the world. And because what it did is it made me feel like, oh, that's why I really loved working with so-and-so. They just felt good to be around and just that presence. And I think to your point, you can have it and most of us do, but you got to intentionally make sure that you amplify it when you can.
And that gotta intentionally make sure to amplify it is point. So what does that mean? That means in any given moment, you, we, I can affect someone, making them feel, oh, good, neutral, or bad.
Don't want to do that.
So given that we can do that in the tiniest way, do the first. Okay, well, what does that mean? Well, look at someone, say good morning, as an example. If you know that you want to light someone, you want to make somebody feel good, well, what do you want to do that? There's a million ways. Do what you already do to make them feel good. Thank you. That was delicious. I thought you did a great job.
Well, and the why, we summed it up in a quote in the end of this chapter, Dr. Albert Schweitzer. Example isn't the main thing in influencing others. It's the only thing.
And oh my God. And thinking about that, I heard another quote similar, which is, you might be the only Bible a person reads today. In other words, how I am, how you are, how we are influences other people, not what we say necessarily or how all that we think. It's how do we behave in the world and how does that affect other people? And knowing that we do, let's do it deliberately.
Right. Well, and I think you've seen this too. You've told me about somebody who suggested that when we engage with people and we truly listen, they can feel it. And I think you said something about looking at someone so intently, you can at least see their eye color. Then you know you've really seen them and made them feel seen.
And this is a very simple tip, but if you want to make good eye contact, pick an eye, choose an eye to look at. It allows you to have better eye contact. But just if I remember that I can light someone up in any given circumstance, no matter what, depending on how I behave, I can do that.
Mhm.
It's not a bridge too far. It's not something I can't do. It's something I can do.
I want to echo that little tip because someone I knew shared this with me too about the eye contact. They were somebody who felt uncomfortable with eye contact. And I don't know if shy is the right word, a little introverted, but there was somebody that made them feel especially intimidated. And someone
Mm,
gave them that same tip. So I just want to echo it. If that is one thing for you that you're trying to work on and make better eye contact, one eye, just look at that one eye. It seems to be just something easier for those that are challenged by that. So good tip.
yep,
Good
it
tip.
is a good tip. Also, practice lighting someone up in the tiniest ways that you already do and say, "Ooh, I did a pretty good job. Ooh, that didn't work.
Mhm.
Ooh," whatever you do. And 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 watch how easy it is for you to do it. And then you can just walk through life personally or
Mhm.
professionally with that intention. I'm going
Mhm.
to go into this Thanksgiving dinner. I'm going to go into this
Mhm.
meeting. No matter what, no, whoever's in front of me, I'm going to say or do something that's going to make them feel a little bit better authentically, not in a,
Right. Right.
"That's a lovely tie you have on, Mr. Cleaver,"
Right.
like that fake Eddie Haskell from Leave It to Beaver days. Don't be flattery
Yeah.
and obnoxious in our puffery,
I
but
do think that
rather
sometimes I have to fake a smile though. But the good news is once you fake it, it shows up for real for most of us. You know, where I'm feeling that energy where I'm kind of in the mode of something that's really bothering me, and somebody comes in the room, I don't want them to feel that, nor do I want them
mm,
to be worried about my worries. So I think when I put a smile on my face, first of all, your face automatically starts smiling. So it's no longer fake. And you bring that energy to that person that just came in the room.
so that idea, I would love for people to experiment with themselves. So
Mhm.
some people react to, "I'm not gonna fake a smile." Okay, fine. But your point, the point you're making is you can make your face
Mhm.
more smiley to the
Right.
extent that you can,
Right.
and it does affect you
Mhm.
and others. So
Yeah.
don't lay a trip on yourself. I have to fake
No, that's true.
smiling,
And it never really is
but
fake, right? You're just
that's
like,
right.
to your point, you're making my face. I don't want you don't own your face anymore. If you're showing it to somebody else, you're gonna give them something and you get to decide what you want to give them, I think
Love
is the
that.
point. You know, as a
It is
parent,
so
I think a working mom many, many years ago, I would come home and the whole drive home was trying to decompress from the day. And then walking in the door always was important to me to have a smile. What am I bringing home? Even though I didn't feel it yet inside. And the minute I brought something else out like a smile, the rest of the world kind of, the whole house turned around because of that.
I mean, I so appreciate you saying that. We can do the same. I, as the owner of my restaurant, I
Mhm.
know that when I walk in, people, especially the employees, are
Mhm.
going to look at me a certain way. I have a responsibility
Right.
to be uplifting to the people that I encounter deliberately. And not, well, how do you address, behavior that needs to be corrected? Well, frankly, not not in that setting, not in that context,
Mhm.
and through
Right.
the appropriate channels is the answer to that
Yep.
question.
That's the why we say you don't own your face or your face is no longer yours anymore. However you want to put it, because you have a responsibility. Whether you're a leader walking into a conference room and you're busy on the phone, take a minute to look up and smile. Tell everyone you'll be right with them. I mean, you're setting the tone the minute you walk in the room. That's the
Yep,
point. Whether you're as a parent, as a leader, as an owner of a restaurant.
everything. I love this challenge to, can I light somebody up today?
Mhm.
Let's see if I can.
Mhm.
In a conversation, in a Zoom, in a chance encounter, or with a difficult conversation too.
Agree. So let's everybody light somebody up. I hope listeners got something really special out of this. These little mini episodes, like I said, are not just healing, but they're this support mechanism for us to work at being our best self every day. Hopefully, has brought a challenge for you today. If you liked it, if you feel like there's somebody who would enjoy it, please share this. We'd love for you to follow the podcast and get an alert every time we drop a new episode. Thanks for listening.